Before I conclude, I want to introduce Esteban Limon, my campaign manager, who's here with us. He's a native New Mexican as well. He's doing a great job in this race. And my final thoughts are this. As we talk about how we go about creating jobs, how we go about the business of turning this economy around, don't let anyone fool you. Don't let anyone fool you. You don't spend more money to create jobs at the government level. You don't go in further debt and burden future generations with further debt for this generation. You don't create jobs by doing that. You do it with belief in unleashing the power of the private sector, the belief in small business. They're the ones who create jobs. They're the ones who pay the taxes. They're the ones who expand the tax base. It's not government. It's been tried before. It's been tried in Japan. It didn't work. It's tried in Greece. It didn't work. And it won't work here. And so I run based on philosophy. I run based on ideas. And I run based on what you all tell me. And I'll listen. I'll listen carefully to all opinions. It's my pledge to you. And I'll try to be respectful as we move forward in the debate. Always mindful that good people can differ on opinions. Always mindful that we as Americans, in the end, have got to come together and do what we think is best for the country, regardless of where we wind up in November. We pledge ourselves to a better America, pledge ourselves to a better country, return ourselves to a faith and belief in ourselves, our community, and frankly, the private sector. So with that, I want to say thank you for being here. It's a privilege to run, and it's an honor to be able to speak in front of all of you today. So I want to say thank you very much. Appreciate it. Questions? Marty?
I keep hearing that when a congressman only serves one term, that he retires at full pay. Is that right?
You know, frankly, I don't know exactly what the retirement system is for a member of Congress. I know it's better than most in this room. And, but I do believe it's 10 years, I think. I frankly haven't looked into that. I know it's better than most people in this room, I'm sure. Yes, ma'am.
Where do you stand on border issues?
Yeah, boy, I have another 20-minute speech on immigration unscripted. I can offer that if you want, but let me try to summarize it. Back, and I tell this story because I think it's very, very important. You've got to, all of us as Americans, we've got to take a deep breath. Both sides, frankly, need to think very deeply and earnestly about this issue because it is an emotional issue. I understand that. Now, I grew up in Las Cruces many years ago. Not so long ago, but long enough to remember how this whole debate has evolved. Back in the summer of 1980, I also had the privilege to do a very extensive report for the Georgetown University School of Foreign Service on this issue, traveled throughout northern Mexico, and was interviewed a lot of folks. Back in 1986, the Immigration Reform and Control Act, otherwise known as Simpson-Mazzoli, right in the middle of that debate in the House Appropriations Committee. It was an interesting evolution of how we look at immigration over the years, at least as I've seen it. Back in 1980, 1986, immigration was basically viewed as a labor issue, primarily. We lived in a pre-9/11 world. Most people could travel throughout Mexico without fear of drug violence. We don't live in that world anymore. We now have to look at immigration through the prism of national security. We have to make sure that before we talk about immigration reform in any way, shape, or form, we have to understand that every airport, every seaport, every port of entry, the southern border, the northern border must be secure. And I think most Americans agree on that basic point. But I also say that what we've got to do is understand that the people who are in this country, legally or not, have and do contribute to our economy in many useful ways. And I know I break from a lot of dogmatic conservatives on this point, but I always talk openly and up front about this issue. These people, as we speak, are picking produce, picking strawberries in very hot miserable conditions in the Central Valley of California, Yuma, Arizona, and other places. And they are providing some very valuable help to our economy in this time. Frankly, there aren't a whole lot of Americans willing to do that kind of backbreaking work. I used to do that in the Mesilla Valley on my grandma's farm, chopping weeds. It's not a lot of fun in the middle of the summer. And for anyone who's done that kind of work, you understand what I'm talking about. So what I think we need to do is, again, take a deep breath. Do we want the bad guys out of this country, the drug dealers? You bet. And I think the way you do it is you compel individuals who are in this country legally or not to enter into a guest worker program, a humane guest worker program. We can identify these individuals, normalize their status, account for them, collect taxes, do background checks, and allow them to come and go from whatever country they come from, primarily Mexico. And that's my position on that. I really believe that that is something that we as a country should be looking at and be thinking. I think it's a rational approach. Both sides, frankly, both sides of this debate have to give a little more on this issue. All of us as Americans, again, have to come together and agree on something. But again, when we come back to the original point, is that we have to make sure before we do anything else that our borders are absolutely secure. I'll leave you with this thought, and the reason I believe that is anybody who has been following the drug violence in Mexico. Last year there were 2,600 murders in Ciudad Juarez. 2,600 murders. That was the most per capita of any city in the world. And the barbarity of the murders that are taking place just south of our border rivals or exceeds any of the barbarity that's happening in the Middle East. And for those reasons, and maybe those reasons alone, we have to think about how we go about the notion of securing our borders. It's awful. We don't want that at the beginning to spill over. We need to make sure we account for people, how they're coming across the border. That's how I see the issue. Again, that's a condensed version. I'm sorry for the long answer, but immigration is not a simple thing. Black or white, you need to really think deeply about these issues, as I intend to do with every issue in Congress. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
Yes, as a former teacher, many of us believe that the people who are here from Mexico not legally have somewhat devastated our education system. Do you have a quick fix for that?
There are no quick fixes to education, the entire education system. I served briefly on the APS school board, and I learned a great deal in a short amount of time. And I'm going to be real honest with you, a lot of the issues that we face, I'm sure you as a teacher faced. My dad was a former teacher that he faced in Las Cruces. He was his second career, by the way. He was a blue-collar guy, went back to work, went back to school late in life and became a teacher at Las Cruces. I hear stories from him, frankly, about how, regardless of somebody's immigration status, parental involvement was minimal. Even from, I don't care what your ethnic background was, what your surname was, he would decry, I'm sure you saw it, that where parents did not get involved in their kids' education, you saw education suffer across the board. Now, coming back to directly answer your question. I'm sorry?
You're misunderstanding my question. I'm talking about the language barrier that is apparent from preschool all the way through and causes so many people to drop out so early.
Sure. I mean, we need to make sure that people understand English, can read English, that English is part of our teaching. But once again, I'm not trying to evade the question. I mean, that's just one part of the education issues and problems we have. People not understanding the English language. That's one part. But you've got people, I mean, there are people that speak English very well. These kids are caught up in all kinds of problems. They play too much computer games. They don't care. I mean, but to just take one issue and say
Just
that's
one.
the major.
Just that one.
Yeah.
That's the only one I wanted to address.
Well,
Because that was the one.
I'm all ears. What do you
Yeah.
think we ought to
No,
do?
I
don't
just-
have a
I
silver
wish-
bullet on that.
I wish we could find a way to teach these young ladies and young men when they're very young, all by themselves, so there's no stress and no pressure. And that stress and pressure does not continue to the students and the teachers in the lower level classrooms. Teach them English in the very beginning, all by themselves, nothing
Okay.
but English.
I
So they better understand and therefore they better function.
I
Because
understand.
if you understand, you can function better.
I'm sorry, I misunderstood your question. I agree with that premise.